Bianca Moscato. So I have kindergarten, first and second grade students in my virtual classroom. I have this year 21 students, 3 IEP students, and 2 English language learners. So I definitely always keep that in mind when I'm planning instruction, especially with young kiddos. It's really important to find every way possible to engage them. So I'm going to share with you some of the things that I do during the day. It is definitely a happy place on earth. It is full of excitement 24/7. They get excited about pretty much everything, which is great. Have a little order that I'm going to be going in today. I'm going to show you little glimpses of our morning meeting, how we start the day, some ways that I engage these students during my ELA block. I have math resources too, virtual ones, and some student work, and the same with social studies as well. So every morning, my students join around 8:30, and they will join to a screen, not this same screen every day, but very similar. I will always tell them what supplies that they need. So while this video is playing, I tell them this is your time to get your supplies ready. You know what you need. And the videos that we pick are usually a hit. This one, as you can see, is Pokemon themed, but it gets their bodies up. I tell them if you're feeling sleepy, if you're tired, we're not laying in bed, we're sitting up. At this point, you're getting up, you're getting your bodies ready to move. They follow the movements. It's good for following directions. But what I think is really important is these videos, I will always pick them based on their interests. And that is a huge part of building relationships with them, because they get excited that I know what they like, and it brings that like mutual relationship and trust. So that's been really great to start our day. Here's a little glimpse too of our attendance and morning meeting. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from families, parents, guardians on this one here. This is a time of the day that a lot of them think is one of the most important parts of the day, because they're engaging with each other and getting to know each other and shared interests. And we've had a lot of friendships coming about this way. This one would be, I model it to them. I say, okay, everybody, you're going to say good morning, friends, and you pick one way to greet them. So if my name was at the top of the list, I would say, good morning, Chris. I'm going to give you a high five today. And then you'll give me a virtual high five back, and Chris will do that for his next friend. So it goes throughout the whole list. There, thanks, Chris. They do their own morning greetings. Some of them get super creative. They do like robot dances and get super carried away, but it's great because they think it's hilarious. Another little piece, so every day it's a different question. I've been teaching my class sign language a lot. Last year I had a student that was hard of hearing, so I incorporated signs throughout the whole day. That had more benefits than I thought just overall in the whole class setting. I'm now seeing students that don't speak English as a primary language, they're using signs because that's comfortable for them. They don't need to speak at that point, but they can engage with their hands, and it totally eliminates a language barrier. So they've been doing a really great job with that. This one, it's teaching them how to say, how are you? A lot of them will say, how are you today? And they don't even need to respond back with their voice if they don't want to. They can draw a special emoji of how are you feeling today? And they all get creative with that as well. So just having fun morning questions, ways to build their relationships and start the day has been really great. Moving on to our ELA block. This, if you have not tried this, I highly recommend it. This is a really fun activity that you can utilize across all academic areas. So this one, I was teaching blends in my class and really emphasizing the 2 letters. When we put them together, we hear both sounds. We've practiced blends for a long time. Once they got really comfortable with it, I introduced them to, are you able to see the spin wheel now? Here's the magic. So I'm not telling them the words or how to spell it. I'm just showing them pictures that utilize the skill that I just taught. So we've reviewed blends, they're comfortable with it. All of these pictures on this wheel are made up of blended sounds. So what we do is I look for a model student who's sitting, following directions. I have them count down. They say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then everybody stands up and they'll like that. And then wherever it lands, which would be here, they all clap and cheer. Then this is another opportunity for me to scaffold instruction too, having kindergarten first and second. So I say the word one time so everybody knows what they're writing. The winner was star. Kindergarten and first graders will typically just write the word star, but I always tell them if you want a challenge, you can make your own sentence, and that's what second graders will do. They'll write, I see a yellow star, or I see a bright star. And we'll go around, hold up their work, and some of them will share their sentences too. This has been really fun across all areas. They like the music, they like the spinning. It's a fun way to practice whatever skill we're focusing on at that time. This is another little game here that I have actually created and has been really great again across all areas. This one would be focusing more on their sight word skills. So I'm trying to emphasize to them, well, sight words, we can't really tap out. We just have to spell and say the words. Sometimes that could be hard for students to remember how to spell it. That's why I also put a number next to the word. So what I'll do is I'll say, okay, there's 20 words here. We're gonna go around, you'll raise your hand, and hiding behind 3 of these numbers and words is Miss Moscato dressed up as an animal. And so what we do is I look and I say, oh, I see Chris is raising his hand. Chris, would you like to pick a number and read a word? And example, Chris, oh, you would pick 2. So I see you say holding up 2. What you would do is Chris would turn on his microphone. He would say, I picked 2, and that's the word for, F-O-R, 4. Then I have that student do a little drum roll and I erase it. Oh, Chris, nice job. Really reading that word. You picked a great one, but that wasn't where Miss Moscato was. And then we all take turns until they find some of the winning ones. And once we get to 3, then it's like the best thing ever. But another fun way to practice words. These are just more of resources that I upload for students. Happy to share this if any of you ever need them. This is just something I put in my Google Classroom, and it's themed rooms with virtual libraries. All they do is they'll click on one of these books and it will either link to YouTube, somebody reading the story aloud to them, and they can see the moving pictures, everything along with the story, or it links to Mayan, which is one of our cool resources that we use, and they can read the story through that, and it even puts a quiz at the end. So these are just additional reading resources for them, and they always love to have these after the reading resources are some guided drawings to go along with them. It's good for following directions, and it's a fun time too. For math, here is a bundle of resources. I always said last year, being the first year virtual, I just had kindergarten students last year, I was like, I wish that I could just jump through the screen and give them all of these resources for counting, for using cubes, for using dice. Then I started finding these virtual ones and they have been life-changing. I share this with my classroom and we kind of pick different target points of whatever we're learning that day. So if we were practicing place value, I would click our little place value cubes here for the base 10 block. Then here's a fun game we play, and I've taught them how to share their screen. I will say, I'm thinking of a number, let's do 123. Then I only show them this. 123. If I need to scaffold instruction, I'll write it this way: 1 in the hundreds, 2 in the tens, 3 in the ones. Their job is to then move the cubes that way. And after they're finished, this obviously isn't 100, I'm just showing you how to move a cube. This would be an activity that they would share their screen and say, okay, this is the number I created with this cube. After everybody does that, I let them get creative and make their own numbers and use the cubes to represent it. So they love doing those. It's been really helpful. Here's kind of a glimpse too of one of the resources. This was from a geo board one of my students created. They used square, triangle to make this little picture here. We were studying 3D shapes too, even just utilizing Google Slides. They made little house using 2D and 3D shapes. This, I was told, is a fun tunnel in a backyard and a bunch of different things. So finding ways to engage them this way where they're actually using materials that they could use in a hands-on setting, but they're doing it in a computer, and to them, I've been surprised. They are so advanced at all of these things. I thought it was going to be a bit more tricky than it was, but because it's exciting for them, they want to do it and they love doing it. So that is kind of where I've been using a lot of my math resources. For social studies, I've been doing a lot of Jamboards with them. So I can even show you through this way instead. What I do is, if I were teaching in person, I would be printing some books if I was teaching a targeted skill. So the paper books that you staple for students, and this point we were doing our holidays around the world and learning different cultures. We went to Mexico, had a great time. I ended up taking the book that I would have printed and I put each page on a different Jamboard for them to decorate and make their own. So this student, they have to read the words, we go through it, take turns reading it. Then Jamboard gives them the option to color it in, add their own special details. So they're learning about the flags, they're learning different languages, how they would pronounce them, and while they're tracing the letters too. Traditions, these are what we talked about. We sing to our neighbors, we hit a piñata, they're tracing it. To them, this is exciting. They're learning in a way that they're creating books all electronically. They get to color it, they get to trace it, and they're learning a different culture. So this is a little glimpse as to how I can engage them in social studies through Jamboards. They're just creating their own work and actually sharing it with each other. So that is pretty much all of my little snippets from some engaging things. And I have one more little slide. It says thanks for listening.
If anybody has any interest, I'll be happy to meet with them and do a demonstration about some of the things that are going on in school and answer any questions that they might have.